बेशर्ता. Okay. Yes. So the topic that we have today is mastery over emotions. Yes, and thank you for somebody opened up the camera. Others also, if you can just switch on your camera, it's always good to know to see who we are talking to. Okay. So welcome again. Now, shall we start our talk tonight with a short prayer? So please relax yourself. Inhale, exhale slowly, comfortably, to whichever form of God you believe in. God, to all the great ones, to all the spiritual teachers, all the holy beings, we humbly invoke for divine blessings, for divine guidance, deeper clarity, understanding, that we may also practice the teachings that we learn here. Thank you also for divine help and protection. In full faith, thank you. Okay. So we are going to talk about how we can have mastery over emotions. And obviously, the word that we're using is mastery. So, right expectations to be adjusted even before we start. Mastery doesn't happen overnight, right? Have you ever tried any creative work, art, music, dance, musical instruments, anything, calligraphy? Nothing you can become expert on in day one, right? It all takes practice, practice, practice. But at least you get a map, you get a guideline. Okay, what are we supposed to practice? Okay, so this is the adjustment first. We are learning takeaways that we can obviously implement in our life. Okay, so when we talk about mastery, let's start with a very common knowledge that we have: mastery over physical body. Okay, have we all experienced days when we don't want to do anything? We just want to be in bed, just want to lie down, just not do any work. Have you all experienced it? Yes. But do you always have the option to do it? Do you have the option to always keep snoozing, or to always get up late, or just not do anything? Some days, with blessings of God, we have that days that we can actually rest. But I also know some people, even on holidays, they're not truly resting because उन पे जिम्मेदारी होती है, planning करने की, making sure everything gets ready on time. So I know some people who never truly rests, right? So how do you do this? Even if your body is wanting rest, how do you still make your body work? Even if, and sometimes it's not just wanting rest, sometimes it's needing rest. Maybe there is fever, maybe there is terrible pain in the body, maybe there is bad infection, right? Even then, I know some people, they work. How do you do that? Please type in your answers. We would like to know. One person is saying you are in that phase now. I hope you get your rest. But yes, sometimes we are in that phase. But how do you do that? In spite of your body wanting or needing rest, how do you still make your body move? Willpower. And what else? Willpower, definitely. That's the main answer. Willpower, right? What else? There's one more thing. There's one more thing. Only willpower is not alone enough. You need one more thing. You have willpower for what? You're using your willpower for what? Healthy mind. Okay, yes, healthy mind. But sometimes even if you're not healthy mind, I know people who are in depression, but they have to go to office because salary chahiye. Right? So it's not always healthy mind. Meditation, yes, some of you are already doing meditation. Responsibility, Sujata. Yes, thank you for the answer. It's not just always willpower. Willpower for what? That also is equally important. You have a responsibility. Like the example I shared, you might be feeling depressed, you don't want to go to work, you are feeling sick, but you cannot miss office. Why? There is some reason. Maybe you have an important presentation. Maybe there are people waiting for your work to get completed. Maybe there's a salary aspect involved, right? There's no right and wrong here. There is a purpose. So purpose and willpower go hand in hand, right? You may have a willpower, but अगर उठने का कोई वजह नहीं है, तो भी आप नहीं उठोगे, right? उठने का वजह है, पर विल पावर नहीं है, तो भी नहीं उठेंगे. You need both. You need both. And that is why some people, you keep explaining them, कि अरे उठो कुछ करो, but they have no purpose in life. They will just be on bed. Right? So it's willpower plus purpose, responsibility, as somebody mentioned. Very good answer. Okay. So just like we get our strength, we get a drive with purpose and power to get up from the bed, to move our body, to do even tasks which is difficult sometimes, right? Similarly, you have to apply to your mind. Okay. So who is controlling the body? The mind is controlling your body, right? Mind power, mind, reason is mind, right? Reason, knowing why are we doing something is mind. So mind power को use करके you are controlling your body. You're pushing your body. You're making your body work. Sometimes in spite of your body needing a rest, right? Same logic we need to understand for emotions. Just like a body is sick, let us take emotional health also like physical health, right? Physically, there are symptoms. There is pain, there is tiredness, there might be a fever, there might be a disease. Just like physically, there are symptoms that we can observe. Even emotionally, there are symptoms. Okay, what are the symptoms? You may not be feeling good. You may be feeling very low and depressed. You might be feeling very agitated, aggressive. You might be feeling constantly worrying, anxiety attacks, panic, right? You are feeling something. And that is why it's an emotional state, right? But then, how come we are able to use our willpower for the physical body to get up, but not our willpower to change our emotions? ना इसमें बहुत जन बोलेंगे नहीं बट हम सामने तो नहीं बोल रहे नो आई एम नॉट सेइंग एनीथिंग इन फ्रंट डजंट मैटर what you say in front doesn't really matter what you feel inside that is your mental health right if only outside mattered then everybody in the world is a happy person I know people who have committed suicide and nobody could have told that they were depressed they sometimes can put that much happy facade in when meeting people right so what we feel outside is not important what is important is how we feel inside. Okay, so that's my question. How come we are not being able to change our emotions completely using willpower? Suppressing is not changing. Suppressing is suppressing. That we all are expert at, especially Indian families. राइट जो भी खराब लग रहा है मन में रखो मुस्कुराओ चलते चलो आज ये गेस्ट आ रहे हैं आज ये फंक्शन है आज फलाना है तो दैट इज अगेन नॉट डीलिंग विथ इमोशंस दैट इज नॉट मास्टरी ऑफ इमोशंस दैट इज अ सप्रेशन ऑफ इमोशंस हाउ डू यू नो बिकॉज वन डे व्हेन द ब्लास्ट हैपेंस एवरीथिंग कम्स आउट राइट that means it was not mastery, it was just suppression. So we have a question for you. Imagine this is a knife. Okay, imagine this is a knife. Now you want to cut this knife. Can you cut this knife using the same knife? क्या इसी चाकू से आप इसी चाकू को कट कर सकते हैं? Not possible. What can you use to cut this knife? You can use external force, or you can use, let's say, another knife to cut this. Right? The mind cannot control itself. That is the problem. The mind cannot control itself. हमेशा एक सुपरवाइजर चाहिए होता है आप अपने घर के स्टाफ को बोलेंगे अपना काम खुद मॉनिटर करो the staff cannot monitor its work right that's why you are having to monitor the staff's work if you work in a company you know you have a hierarchy there's a mid-level manager there's an executive manager then there are the board of directors and everybody can manage the team below समझ में आ रहा है ये पॉइंट हर कोई अपने से सबॉर्डिनेट को मैनेज कर सकता है एंड दैट इज व्हाई द माइंड पावर द विल पावर द पर्पस वर्क सो वेल विद द फिजिकल बॉडी बिकॉज फिजिकल बॉडी से माइंड सुपीरियर है हैव यू नॉट सीन पीपल मे बी उनके हाथ पांव नहीं है बट दे हैव सच अ स्ट्रॉन्ग विल पावर सच अ पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड टूवर्ड्स लाइफ वो लोग कुछ ना कुछ फिर भी कर लेते हैं right that's the mind power somebody was mentioning positive thinking also that's the mind power controlling the body but for the mind itself mind alone is not enough okay so what do we need a higher power simple and that is where some of you were mentioning meditation yes some of you you may find that strength in puja or when you go to holy places, spiritual places, right? Because you need something else. Or it can be a friend. When you're going through a low phase, आप किसी से बात करते हैं, वो आपको समझाते हैं, आपको सुनते हैं, they give you a better outlook towards life. And you will see, it's easier to change an emotion, or it's easier to feel less of that intense emotion, right? So there's an additional energy that you need to be able to manage that. So the question is, do we have that additional energy or additional sources? This is something you ask yourself now. When I'm emotional, when I'm feeling low, when I'm feeling lost, ये आपका क्वेश्चन है अभी आपके आप से, what is it I look for? कहाँ से मुझे हेल्प मिलता है? Where do we get that additional source from? That is the main thing. That is the main thing. We all will have stress. See, Duryodhan has an advisor. Yudhishthir has an advisor. एक का advisor है शकुनी, मामा शकुनी, और एक का advisor है Lord Krishna. We all need something. Now that is the question. Who is your advisor? Are you going out just to party, to forget? Sometimes it is good, but is that your only go-to method? For some people, by the way, आजकल reels इतना common क्यों है? You should ask. Why are we enjoying reels? Because थोड़ा देर लाइफ से डिस्ट्रैक्टेड है, थोड़ा देर लाइफ का प्रॉब्लम नहीं हैंडल करना पड़ रहा, नहीं फेस करना पड़ रहा. दैट इज आई यू विल सी किड्स. आई हैव सीन किड्स, आई हैव बीन दैट किड. जब एग्जाम आता है, फॉरगेट एवरीथिंग एल्स, वो दीवार भी कितना इंटरेस्टिंग लगता है. You just like looking at the wall, nothing else, looking out the window. And I know some kids who also enjoy watching the boring mother ka serials on that days, क्योंकि एग्जाम से थोड़ा देर you want to escape. Right? So we all need an escape. But then the escape cannot be permanent solution. It can be temporary. कि हाँ थोड़ा देर माइंड डाइवर्ट कर दिया, बट अगर वो हमारा कांस्टेंट गो टू मेथड बन रहा है, देन देयर इज समथिंग वी नीड टू फिक्स. Okay, then you start asking yourself, okay, what I need help, and there's no shame in asking for help. Your body needs help, right? Why do you go to gym? Because the body needs help. Why are you dieting? Because body needs help. Help does not mean that you're not capable. Help simply means you need to do something better, right? Just like body can require help, even mind and emotions can require help. There's nothing to feel bad about, right? We are not perfect. And that is why we can need assistance जहाँ पे हम खुद अपने आप का इमोशंस को नहीं कंट्रोल कर पा रहे. And this is something that you need to start asking. What can be my go-to help? For some people, they can be reading books, right? For some people, it can be therapy. I know some people who really like going to a therapy, talking to somebody. For some people, the therapy can be your best friend, and for some, it is professional people, right? When you talk to your friend, make sure that it's not somebody who is just validating you and making you feel victim. I have seen, आपको वही पसंद आता है जो आपको बोले हाँ हाँ बहुत बुरा हो रहा है. You have to choose somebody who is objective, who will tell you also कहाँ आपको चेंज करना है, and who will be right also in judging the other person. Don't go into this victim mode trap. वो आपको नहीं हेल्प करने वाला है, right? What else? What else can you do? You can do meditation, as somebody is saying. Some of you can be doing your puja as you want. Continue, but bring more mindfulness. If you're using techniques, bring more mindfulness. I know some people who also feel emotionally better just by working out or by dancing, right? Those who have done the soul course, yes, as somebody is also putting in the chat room, remind that you are the soul. Yes, some of you have done the soul course, you have the tools and techniques. Use that. Those who have not done the soul course, you're missing out. Do that. Do the course, right? But you need to access the higher power. Friends, activities are again not, they're outside power, not necessarily higher power, but you also need to learn to access higher power. See, every religion tells you to pray. Every spiritual school tells you to meditate. You should ask why. This is something you should actually think. Pray, not chanting, puja, किसी भी way में, but they are asking you all to connect to the higher power, right? This is the secret that you should look at life. Right? How come every school, whichever country, whichever culture, whichever religion you take out, everyone asks you to connect to that power. The method can be different. It can be chanting, it can be reading spiritual books, Sikhism, Jainism. They have a lot of books reading, right? So the method can be different, but they're all asking you to connect to the higher power. You should actually start thinking why. There is something that just changes when you connect to that source. Right? Alone, we'll always feel helpless. And that's why we look for our friends and family, no? Similarly, alone, some problems are beyond any person's control. And that is where we feel helpless. By the way, if you research, the most weakening feeling, जो सबसे ज्यादा कमजोर आपको बना सकता है, that feeling is supposed to be helplessness and hopelessness. हेल्पलेसनेस जब आप लाचार महसूस करते हैं कि कुछ कर नहीं सकते, होपलेसनेस जब आप ना उम्मीद महसूस करते हैं कि लाइफ में कुछ अच्छा हो नहीं सकता. सो दिस टू इमोशंस आर कंसिडर्ड टू बी द मोस्ट वीकनिंग, जो आपको अंदर से बहुत कमजोर बनाता है व्हेन डीलिंग विथ लाइफ. ओके, सो स्पेशली इन दोज मोमेंट्स, ट्राई नॉट टू बी अलोन. टेक हेल्प, गो आउट, मीट पीपल, टॉक टू अ फ्रेंड, बट टेक हेल्प. क्योंकि आप ऑलरेडी जब एकदम वीकेस्ट मोमेंट में है, इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू फाइंड स्ट्रेंथ विद इन. Right, and that's the time I see maximum people they turn to God. That's why you see every hospital, they might say we are scientific, we believe only medical based this and that, but every hospital has a temple, right? That tells you the basic need of human being to have somebody to connect to when things are not in our control. Right? So definitely learn techniques to connect to your soul. Those who have done soul course, you have a buffet of techniques. Those who have not done soul course, but you have done the basic course, you have to enhance meditation, right? And you also have an upcoming soul course that you can plan for. Those who have not done anything, your first time here, welcome. I'll appreciate your effort because at least this means we are looking for an answer. This means we're trying to put an effort. So the fact that 75, almost of us are here, means we want to get this done. And that itself is good enough. Right? Because one of the steps, by the way, to get mastery is first of all to accept that we are feeling emotional. What we don't accept, we can never improve. Okay, so one of the things some of the spiritual authors who are also talking about emotions, they suggest is that when you are feeling an emotion, you name that emotion. May not be out loud, may not be verbally, but आप accept internally करिए हाँ कि I'm feeling this emotion. In fact, there is a brain part, amalgata, I think that's what they say. If I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. That part is connected with fear and anxiety. And what, according to psychologists, according to the people who are studying brain, according to them, अगर आप fear experience कर रहे हैं and you are denying it कि नहीं सब ठीक है सब ठीक है सब ठीक है and you're trying not to face it, that part of the brain remains active. It keeps producing fear in you. बट अगर आप एक्सेप्ट करते हैं, एक्नॉलेज करते हैं कि हाँ मुझे फियर फील हो रहा है या आई एम फियरफुल अबाउट दिस, right? Then the other part of the brain, which is supposed to help you calm down, that starts becoming active. That is a power of just accepting and acknowledging कि हाँ I'm feeling this emotion. Just accept. That's the first step. वो accept करने से something in the brain starts changing and things starts improving for you emotionally. So even if you're feeling bad कि हाँ मुझे खराब लगा किसी ने बोला, accept it, at least to yourself. Obviously, we have social environment. You cannot always tell people कि हाँ मुझे खराब लगा उसने क्या बोला, but at least to yourself, you need to accept. Acknowledging is no longer something that you're fighting the unknown. Now you know what you are dealing with. Now you know किससे किससे आपको solve करना, क्या solve करना, right? So whenever you get emotional next time, don't deny. At least to yourself, don't deny. Don't say नहीं हम emotions नहीं है मेरे अंदर, या हम angry नहीं है, या हम sad नहीं है, या हम fearful नहीं है. Say हाँ ठीक है, I felt anger. Or yeah, I agree that okay, my pride was hurt. Or yeah, I might have felt envious about something, right? If you start accepting it, you will realize that emotion is no longer as powerful as before, because now you are in charge again. Because now you know what you're dealing with, it sorts of gives you the tool and the inner strength. Okay, this is what I'm feeling. So now I can logically try to work on it. Okay, for example, what do you mean by logic? Okay, exactly. I'll just take this in the chat. When we validate our emotions, it helps to work on it rather than bypassing it. That's it. Because you know what you're dealing with. So it's no longer trying to justify or trying to be in denial or trying to find another reasons for yourself. Because you know what's happening, it's easy to start changing it. Okay? So next time when you have an emotion overpowering you, accept what the emotion is. Don't justify, don't be in denial, don't give reason, but this is why, because of this. No, no, I'm feeling this. Okay. Why am I feeling it? Not outside. Because this happened? Okay. the external situations can trigger. That's fine. And then you try to change the story behind it. I repeat, you try to change the story behind it, but don't change in a negative way. हम लोग क्या करते हैं, नहीं नहीं उससे मेरे को नेगेटिव वाइब आया है. You don't try to find stories about others. You try to change by giving benefit of doubt. Benefit of doubt. What do you mean by that? So, for example, I get very stressed generally when people behind me are honking and honking and honking, and sometimes you have to speed up because they want to speed up. So earlier I would speed up. This is in my earlier days, and I was like, मैं कैसे overtake करने दे दूँ? I'll speed up. But now, obviously, with age, you become mature. You become safety is more important than speed. And then it's like, okay, that person is honking. I will not be stressed. I will not be irritated because I don't like loud noises in general. So now I try, okay, let me not be irritated at the honk. Let me just make a excuse for that person in my own mind. So for me, I think is maybe the person has a medical emergency. Possible, no? Maybe this person wants to go to the bathroom. It also makes you feel lighter. Or maybe the child is alone at the school, the person has to pick them up. It can be anything. We do not know. We do not know. Right? So at least this gives me immediate sense of calmness and like, okay, please go ahead. I don't need to speed up. I don't need to be irritated at your honking. Go ahead. My safety is more important than your speed. This is another thing I do. I use affirmations. Okay, my safety or my life is more important than your need for rush, your need for hurry, right? So you can find ways to change the narrative, to give people a benefit of doubt. Benefit of doubt helps you a lot because it will prevent you to take things personally. Okay, this is one thing we need to be more mindful. Half our emotions are triggered because we think it's about us. Okay, example, somebody was irritated at you at work or at home, and we think, मेरे से ऐसे क्यों बात की? No, why are you talking to me like this? What did I do? Maybe it's not about you. You're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. That person was irritable, they needed a garbage, and you came in front of them. So now you're the garbage bin. So they are throwing all their anger at you. Haven't you seen as a kid? All of us have experienced it. Mom, dad had something, and you become the bashing ground. Right? Unfortunately, this continues even as we become adults. As I said, no, especially in our culture, people don't know how to process emotions, and that is why they just need an outlet. So if you stop taking it personally, it won't hurt you as much. As much, I say. Obviously, we are human being; we can get hurt. I understand, but at least not as much. So, the changing of narrative? It will help you to look at things from the other person's perspective. Because if you look at from your perspective, then sometimes we go into assumptions, sometimes we go into victim mode, sometimes we go into defensive mode, sometimes we go into feeling maybe self-doubt, why always I get this. But if you change the perception, right? If you change the story, it can help you look at life from the other person's perspective, thereby triggering sympathy, empathy, compassion instead of the victim, the sadness, the anger, and those emotions. The question is, how many times do we give benefit of doubt if it has to do with one person? How many times? As many times as required. Okay. When we say benefit of doubt, you also have to understand even they can have their own emotional state, right? For example, there was this friend of mine who was avoiding me, and this was only on chat. I did not go to her house. I did not meet her, but it was for a period of 6 to 8 months. When I was trying to talk, it was like one word answer, delayed answer, not talking, this and that. So one person, regular, and my thing, oh, maybe she doesn't want to talk. Why am I bothering? Let it be. Why should only I always initiate? The kind of normal response we have. I got to know much later that she was battling a lot of emotional things. It was not about me at all. She was fighting her own battle. She was trying to survive. She had her own issues going on, right? So we need to have that empathy and compassion. Yes, sometimes it can also be just lack of communication. Somebody said something, we assumed something, but it's not the right uh, understanding. It's not the right way the things are communicated. So try to keep channels of communication open. Okay, this is where I'm talking about giving benefit of doubt. Right? And when people are saying, but this is not what I meant, give that also a benefit of doubt. In the way that probably they are right. Probably what they said was not very thoughtful, but they were not intending it in the right in that way. Right? But this also you have to match words with actions. Words with actions. When people say something, they can say anything. You have to match words with actions also. Once or twice, everybody can have, but repeat it, then you have to think. Okay? This helps also changing the narrative, giving other person the benefit of doubt. This will help you change from why me, feeling sad, feeling bad, to maybe empathy, sympathy, compassion, understanding. These are better emotions. So this will help you switch your emotions. So one way was connecting to a high energy, then connecting to external sources like therapy, friends, something positive. Then we have the change of narrative. Now, there's also one method that you can have is diversion. Sometimes when emotions get too heavy, too overwhelming, too powerful, then you have a diversion. Have you seen kids cry when they get hurt or when they get an injection? Then what do we do? Look here, look here, look here, right? We try to divert. And when we try to divert, what happens? You're not holding on to the negativity. Grandmaster Choa, in his book, he mentions clairvoyantly means those who can see energy. It was observed that when a person focuses on his pain, that for example, the person hurt his knee and the person is focusing on the knee pain, the pain energy on the knee just gets stuck there, right? But if the person diverts the attention to somewhere, then it's easier for the pain energy to loosen up and to start going out of the body. So it's not something just psychological, it is actually happening in the body. Okay? Okay. So Disha is saying, is it not living in denial? That depends on how much time. Diversion is not going to happen for months. It's supposed to be for some time. Okay? That's what I said. It's okay if you even watch reels for some time. That much distraction we need. It's okay to go out to a party once in a while. It's okay to go out and talk about it once in a while. But that has to be once in a while. It cannot be the way we live our life, right? So that is where the emotions are getting too overwhelming. Like we're in a very angry state or in a very crying state or in a very panicky state. In that state, as it is, if you're not feeling strong enough to handle the emotions, better let it calm down. Okay, so what do? You divert your attention. Where do you divert? Into something positive. Please, when you're going through emotional state, don't listen to Rona Dhana ka Gana, right? If you're already feeling angry, you cannot listen to a violent movie or a violent song. If you're going through depression, you cannot say, Rona, you cannot listen, usne chhod ke chala gaya kind of gaane, right? You have to divert to something positive. Right? I can't remember this person right now, who this person was, but I remember this incident. This person was going through depression, bad breakup. And every day when I'm asking, what are you doing? I'm listening to music, I'm watching movies. I genuinely thought, oh, the person is see, very nice, focused on distracting himself, this and that. But when I'm healing, I'm like, result nahi aa raha. And then I asked, okay, what movie are you exactly watching? And then I got to know he's watching all those songs about betrayal, about chhod ke chali gayi. So, yeah. Then I learned to ask question. Now, when people say I'm listening to music when you're healing, I always ask, which music? Tell me. Okay. So you distract yourself with something positive. And then when you feel emotionally calmer, then you come back and address it. But you have to definitely come back and address. If you don't come back and address, that Disha will be living in denial. But you don't have to talk about it right now. Like some people, when they're having a fight, one person's shut off and the other person, no, you tell me right now. And the other person's like, I can't process. You can actually say, I need time. If I talk right now, I'll probably talk in anger. So please give me some time. Let me calm down. Let me come back to you. Right? Buying that time is a sign of emotional strength already. Okay. In argument, if you're just arguing, it's not going to solve anything. Rather, step back, take some time, cool off yourself, or address whatever is bothering you. Come back. Right? And sometimes you don't have to come back immediately. If somebody triggered a old trauma within you, and the trauma is not about that person, the trauma is coming from another person, another history, another situation, then it should be an awareness that okay, we need to work on ourselves. because this person should not suffer because of whatever trauma I went elsewhere, right? And some people do that. Like this person, she was betrayed by somebody. Now, the next person was a genuinely nice person, but because she had so much trauma of the old betrayal, she would keep doubting this new person, right? So we need to heal ourselves. We need to heal ourselves. Some of the old patterns, own emotional traits are just staying in us subconsciously. We're not even realizing it till it is triggered, right? Now, see, if it is a small pond and you disturb the water, the mud will come up, right? But if you keep disturbing it, the mud will remain up. But if you let it be, what will happen? The mud will settle. But settling is not healing, right? Understand that difference. Settling is not healing. For some people, they think it's settled more till it comes back again. Okay. So we also need to work. So those who have done pranic psychotherapy, you know what to do. You need to work. You need to work on those old. See, it's not going to go away on its own completely. It needs help. It needs help. सालों का होता है कभी कभार. वो एक दो दिन में नहीं जाएगा. एक अफर्मेशन एक माइंड से नहीं जाएगा. Remember, mind cannot fight itself. Mind cannot control itself. Okay, I'll give some moments here to ask questions and then I'll continue with the other points. Okay, does this give you more clarity? Does this make you feel okay? There are some tools at least I have. Next time I feel next time I feel emotional or weak. The most common emotion is anger, and the most weakening one that we shared already was hopeless and helplessness. How to come out of from trauma of near one's death? Yeah. Again, uh, time heals. That's the general answer. But psychotherapy and soul knowledge really helps a lot. For me personally, psychotherapy alone, I've seen sometimes is not sufficient because sometimes, see, there is something called natural, progressive, age-related death, right? For that, I've seen psychotherapy still helps because you know that everybody who has come will one day go. That helps. Remember, knowledge, not just willpower, knowledge. But when it is unexpected, when it is something that where we have questions, why did this happen? Then I've seen that psychotherapy alone is not sufficient. It helps, it heals a lot, but we need to go back to the concept of the soul, the knowledge of the soul, and that is why you will see ना जब भी कहीं पे death होता है, what are they reading? Those days, what are they reading? They're reading Gita, they're reading Garud Puran, right? Because those knowledge is actually what helps you. But again, the question is, are we understanding what are we reading? Like for my mom, she comes from a family where they had to read every day few pages of Gita. Only when she has read few pages of Gita will she be allowed to go to school. So she has to read in the morning. After coming back from school, only if she reads Gita will she be allowed to have food. So she has to read Gita in the evening. So that was how the kids were like no option. They had to read it. So my mom has read Gita in many, many times, right? Because entire school, it was her compulsory in her family. When she did the soul class, when she came back home, her first thing was, I have read Gita so many times. It's the first time I have understood Gita. That was my mom's words when she came back from the soul class. So it's not only about reading as a ritual in those days, it's also about actually understanding what are we reading. How do we implement these teachings in our life? And it is not only in the time of death, right? Gita is supposed to have all the truths of life. It's how do we implement those truths in our daily life. So I know this one person, very, very attached to his mom, very attached. I was healing his mom actually. And that's why I know he's extremely attached to his mom. And the mom was improving. The ailment that she was had, that was actually improving. But you know, when time comes, it comes. So she was improving, but she fell, she hurt her head, immediate death. Okay, she fell as in just on the floor, like nothing from a height or something. I think it's just meant to happen. So our first reaction was, oh, how will this boy manage? Extremely attached to his mom. But this boy, he had done soul class. And I was amazed at the strength he showed. Amazed. I did not see him cry. In fact, when I visited their home, I think on the second or the third day, he was smiling. He was smiling. He was standing strong. He was standing strong on behalf of his family. He was, and not something which is externally strong. He said, Ankita, I had so much of fear of losing my mom that I was not able to enjoy that she was around me. But somehow with that class, I was able to manage so much. And according to him, his fear of death went away. I think that is big. That is big. For fear of death to go away, that is actually big. Most of us here will have fear of death for our loved ones, right? So it's not only about understanding, it's also about implementing. Whatever we learn, it's about implementing. Okay, even for this, if you're taking away something from here, it's okay. You take a one thing away from here, doesn't matter. You don't have to take away everything that we discuss in the class. But even if one thing makes you feel, yeah, this is something I can practice, this is something I can help. The question is, will we implement? Or will we forget at 8 p.m. once the session is over? That is where life changes. Right? Life will not change just by knowing. It will change by doing. Doing. So mastery of emotions, yes, we would love it. Right? But what do we have to do? The hard work. We have to deal with emotions. We cannot ignore our emotions if we want mastery of it. See, if somebody ignores their health, कि नहीं ठीक है, सब ठीक रहेगा. Right? इसलिए exercise की दरकार नहीं है, सब ऐसे ही ठीक रहेगा. They're just ignoring, right? And then something in the body will bound to happen one day or the other. Similarly, you cannot say, no, emotions, I'm taken. You cannot say that, at least to yourself. Outside, please go ahead. Outside, somebody asks you, how are you doing? You say, I'm doing good. Everything is great. That's a polite answer. Outside, that's a very appropriate answer. But inside, you tell yourself, no, I need to work on this. No, I'm dealing with this. And you give yourself time. Be patient with yourself. You cannot get upset. Oh, how come I'm still angry? How come I'm still feeling anxiety? No, be patient. Be patient. Right? Patience helps you a long way. See, what you do not like about yourself, right? That's going to keep coming back more and more. आप जिस चीज से भागते हो वही आगे खड़ा नहीं होता. Have you not seen, if you have ever been to any party, any workshop, anywhere, when you enter, you went, इसके पास नहीं खड़ा होना. आगे कौन खड़ा होता है पास में? आप जिससे भागोगे वही सामने आएगा. सो इफ इमोशंस यू आर ट्राइंग टू बी इन डिनाइल, वो आता रहेगा, वो ट्रिगर होता रहेगा. इसलिए कब तक नोटिस नहीं करेंगे. राइट? सो यू एक्सेप्ट इट, ट्रीट इट लाइक अ फ्रेंड. You talk to that emotion. You understand where the emotion is coming from. That's another step that you can add. Understand where it is coming from. Is it truly coming from you? Or is it coming from your environment? Okay? What do you mean by that? If you enter office and office guste hi, if you're feeling stress, you should have the awareness, it is not my emotion. Right? If you have the, okay, this is not mine, it cannot influence you. If you accept every emotion as yours, then it's like आप खुद ही बना के बैठे इसको अपना. So have that awareness. Try to understand, okay, where is this emotion coming from? It may be coming from your childhood. You have seen people react. That's why you're reacting in the same way. For example, when things when things don't go your way, right? Or when you have a sudden loss. We sometimes in a very yaar, ye ho gaya, wo gaya. Now try to recall. Have you seen people respond like that earlier? As a child, have you seen your parents respond? Have you seen your teachers respond? Or your elder siblings or cousins whom you looked up to? You will notice a lot of your response style might be coming from people that you look up to, that you subconsciously are copying. Or you just feel, okay, it's natural because everybody is doing that. Right? So if you have the awareness, okay, this is not me, this is not my choice of emotion, or this is not how I usually behave, you will make that emotion less powerful on yourself. So also environmental emotion is something you have to be careful of. There's a story, it's a story, it's not a real incident, it's a story that there was two brothers who came from very abusive background, like their parents were abusive, the father especially was very abusive, and they lived separately after they were old enough, they were adults, they were married, living separately. So the reporter went to the first brother's house and saw that the brother was very abusive again to his wife, to his kids. And she asked the reporter, why are you like this? Why do you do this? He said, I've grown up seeing my dad behave like this, so this is how it is. Okay. She went to the second brother. She saw the second brother was very respectful of his wife, very respectful and caring for his children. And he said, I just met your brother before coming here, and both of you have the same parents. How come you are nice to your wife and your kids? And he answered, I saw my father being very abusive growing up, and so I decided I will not be like him. Right? So, this is how you reduce the power of other emotions on yourself. You be aware. You be aware, okay, just because somebody else is doing this does not mean you have to do this. One of the experiments I tried, if you're in a class or then somebody enters late, and you will notice everybody turns to see the person, right? Now that turning is happening as a group. You did not probably decide as an individual, you turned because everybody turned. So I give you this as a practice. Why don't you try doing this? When everybody is doing something, you refrain. So for me, I practice this. When everybody is turning, I will not turn, just to develop my own individual mind and not just go by the flow of what everybody else is doing. This is a very small exercise, but this will give you a good insight on how much is our own choice and how much is just in the flow of events. Right? So, in small ways, try doing this. Like, for example, if something happened on the road, everybody's turning and seeing, Kya hua? Right? Train yourself. Okay, I will not turn and see. I will probably just pray for the person. I will not go into gossip. Kya hua? I will just pray. May whatever is happening there, may there be healing, may there be peace, may there be protection. In small ways, you will train your mind to be an independent decision maker. And that is a very good power, especially when you are influenced easily by your environment. सब चिल्ला रहे तो हम भी चिल्ला दिया अगर वैसा सिचुएशन है दिस इज द ट्रेनिंग वी रिक्वायर being your own decision maker. So you'll also be able to choose your responses, right? Because even wanting to know क्या हो रहा है is a very group energy. Everybody is doing तो आप भी turn करके देख लियो, right? So in small cheese, you can try getting more individual control, choosing how you want to respond. It might look very simple. Don't underestimate this. But if you can develop this power in small things, small responses, if you can control, that is a skill required also to control the bigger responses. You don't have to see mastery will not happen on the top. It will start from below. It will start from smaller things. Then you can go up and fight. See how does competition happen? Right? You don't fight the champion of the world, right? On day one. You fight somebody equal. Like let's say in a local school match. If you get selected, then you are fighting inter-school. Get selected, then maybe on the state level, then on the interstate. That's how you build. So if you can't even control small emotions, how will you control the bigger emotions? So if somebody is shouting at you, can you calm down? Can you respond quietly? Can you respond patiently? Can you respond with a controlled tone? That itself is training your emotions, right? Or before you feel like reacting, a deep breath, counting till 10, the small tools that we have. Or just drinking water. By the way, anger is fire, no? Water is water. Water on fire. That's why drinking water helps. Those who know chakras, the chakra for the anger is connected with fire. And that's why drinking water helps. But if you can take small pauses before you give in into your emotions, you're already telling your emotions, hey, I decide how much to say, when to say, how to react. I will not let you be the master, right? But it's a small ways you can start getting master over your emotions. You getting to decide how to do it. Yes. No questions today. Interesting. Generally, I will have a lot of questions happening. Okay, I hope that's the reason why there's no questions, Sakshi. Already getting a lot of answers and insights. Good. Okay. You want more, or are we done for today? Do you want more methods? Is this not good enough already? Please. You want more? Affirmations. Affirmations. That also helps. You choose the right affirmations. One of my favorite affirmations is I am at peace with myself. I am at peace with my environment. I'm at peace with the people around me. I'm at peace with my life. This is one of my favorite affirmations. So for me, this is like, okay, before I get emotional, I'm bringing down the energy of peace. So peace helps you, okay, this is it. This is my life. This is me. This is the people around me. I'm at peace. So you're trying to emphasize peace over the other emotions. Right? Now, again, reminder, before Disha asks me, let me answer this on Disha's behalf. Peace does not mean that you accept wrong. It simply means you're first bringing yourself down to a peaceful level. So that not bringing down, okay, let me change my phrase. You are raising up yourself to a peaceful level and not going down into those negative emotions. Right? If you are a very emotional person, you can have a picture on your desk, on your phone, on your wallpaper of a mountain lake. Mountain lake, right? This is one of the techniques I took from an author. I forgot the book's name, but it's now I find his name very difficult. Dark Need Heart. I don't know how to pronounce this. So basically, this author says that the mountain lake is one of a very good symbols to be used for making yourself peaceful. Because if you see mountain lakes, they're not waves. They're still, they are quiet, and they reflect the mountains. Yes, thank you, Archana, so much. I find his name tongue twister. So, Thich Nhat Hanh. And yeah. So, this image is what you can use if you want. This also creates a lot of feeling of peace. Those who know, the body connected with emotions, it actually relaxes it. Okay. So, this is another image that you can use. Or affirmation. So affirmation, you can also say, I choose to be happy. I choose to let go of, let's say, whatever is creating sadness for me. Or you can choose, like this once, what affirmation was using? So there was a phase where I was feeling very lost. I was feeling that I was not getting a clear direction of where am I headed. And when you feel lost, and at least for me, when I feel lost, all the emotions start taking over. I feel anxiety, I start feeling like purposeless and all those kind of emotions. So I was going through this very bad few days that I was going through this. And one of the affirmations that just came into my mind was, I stand in light. I stand in light. I will not let the darkness be around me. And would just visualize like light coming down. And when you switch on the light, darkness just goes away. Like light coming down, taking away the darkness. And I think after that, it was easier for me to overcome that particular situation. So if you're feeling very lost, hopeless, helpless, depressed, this can be one of the affirmations you can try actually. I stand in light and I will not let the darkness come near me, or the light will dispel the darkness around me. Okay, you can use your own. I have issue when people who have treated me badly before, but yet I have to work with them. It gives me traumatic effects inside, even though I'm professional. Yes. So basically, there's a trauma. There's a mistrust. There's a fear. Maybe they will backstab you again, or maybe they'll not backstab. They'll mistreat you again. Right? So you ask yourself, what is the emotion I need to feel in this situation? The emotion mostly will be confidence. Maybe it will be feeling of protection. It might be the feeling of clarity, so that you understand their intentions before they do something wrong to you. You pray for them. I'm filled with clarity. I'm filled with right judgment. I'm able to stand up for myself. So you have that. You can do visualizing. You can do affirmations, up to your personal choice. Okay. I hope you get that answer. When I know after saying or asking for something, the situation is going to get triggered, then how do I react? Should I avoid saying it or avoid to do what should I get? So if what you are saying or asking is important, then why will you stay quiet? It has to be said, right? The question is, can I say it in the right way? That is important. Now, if you have said in the right way, and if what you're saying is important to be said, okay. And if they get triggered, that's their problem. What you have to do is not to allow their reaction to overpower you. So that is where affirmations can be used, visualizing can be used. If you know psychotherapy, you can shield yourself. If you know blessings, you can bless the situation beforehand. So there are techniques available, right? And I was about to say something. Okay, this is slipping my mind, so probably not as important. How to deal with somebody hurting us repeatedly? Yeah, good question. There are so many techniques. Again, um, see, again, you have to, Saksham, I do not know what course you have taken. So from basic onwards to psychotherapy to soul, all courses have techniques how to deal with it, how to actually practice forgiveness. Forgiveness not just on the face, but how do you actually practice inner forgiveness, and how do you understand the person better, situation better, and to choose the right response to it. That is equally important. You may forgive, right? But forgiving does not mean making the same mistakes. Sometimes you have to, for example, if you cut your finger using a knife, does not mean you keep using the knife in the wrong way. You have to become more mature in dealing with the knife, right? So that thing, you also just, you have to go through that understanding of life. That helps. That helps. Sometimes the emotions are so overwhelming that we can't remember all this. The emotion takes over completely. How to remember to use these techniques? Thank you, Gitanjali, for this question. Yeah, I think this is an important question. We cannot run a marathon with a broken leg, right? You cannot train for the marathon with a broken leg. You train yourself on the good days. So whatever techniques I'm sharing right now, start practicing it today, not tomorrow, not when problem comes. Start practicing it today. If you start doing it today, then when the problem comes, at least there is something which is called muscle memory, reflex action. It becomes part of your nature. Then it will not happen after चिल्ला चिल्ली के बाद oh हम तो क्लास में सीखे थे. It will happen during चिल्ला चिल्ली. Let's be practical. But next some time it will happen during reaction. Remember, oh, I was not supposed to react. Then no problem. You continue practicing. And then one day, after a few months, it will happen before you are going to react. And then if you continue practicing, it will become part of your nature not to react as much. I repeat the word as much. You're not going to become perfect in few months. Be realistic. You're going to get better. सो अभी अगर हम लोग वीक में 7 days रिएक्ट कर रहे हैं इट विल गो डाउन ग्रेजुअली टू 5 days फॉर मी the initial effect I was seeing was how easily I come out of it. So that time reduced. If I was in an emotion, let's say for 2, 3, 4 days, I would come out of it faster. Initially, that's the difference I saw. Then later on, I realized even the frequency starts reducing. So that is what you observe. See, a speeding car cannot take a U-turn immediately, right? A speeding car will slow down, slow down, slow down, stop, and then take a U-turn. So be realistic. Be patient with yourself. See, if you cannot be patient with yourself, it's very difficult to be patient with others, right? So give yourself time, give yourself love, accept yourself. After an emotional outburst, you will not go into, oh, how come I did this? Oh, I'm not able to do this yet. No, you'll just hug yourself, visualize hugging yourself and say, it's okay. It's okay. I'm proud of the effort I'm taking. Appreciate yourself. Yes, when you do that, you will realize so many emotions settle down. Because now you're not waiting for others to validate what you're doing. You're not getting angry. See, I'm taking effort. This person is not acknowledging it, right? You will not go into all of this. You will know that you're doing the hard work on yourself, and that will be enough. Yes, some of you are not not connecting this with no worries. It's a start. It's a start. When you start doing this, you will realize the impact. Okay. Last point before we close. Uh, One thing that you can also do is you identify the cost. Remember willpower and purpose. So purpose. Identify the cost that you are paying because of staying in that emotion. Okay. What do you mean by cost? Whose blood pressure is going up? Who is getting diabetes? Who is getting headache? You ask yourself, what is the cost I'm paying by entertaining this negativity? Right? You know that there's a serial English show called Friends. There's a very nice scene that Ross talks to this girl, Phoebe, and he asks, I'm tired of thinking, tell me, please, why you're angry at me. And Phoebe says, I don't remember. I just remember that I'm angry at you. So if you have forgotten already, why are you angry in the first place? Forget it. Some relationship is more important than trivial anger and trivial stuff, right? I know so many people who tell me every holiday they go to, they end up in a fight. Come on, you spend so much money to fight on a foreign location. So you ask yourself, what is the cost I am paying by entertaining this negativity? That cost cannot be your child who is waiting for loving words from you. The cost cannot be somebody else who did nothing wrong in that moment. You have to really ask yourself. The cost cannot be you also. You cannot be the one going with headaches, going with backaches because you are just emotional, right? Choose not to pay that cost. And Master, in one of his books, in one of the manuals that we have, he says very nicely, why should you punish yourself for a mistake that somebody else did? And Master very nicely says that's stupid, right? It's like somebody else made a mistake and you're like, now I will starve myself. Makes no sense. So identify the cost. Let this be an inspiration or willpower or a purpose for you that why I should come out of that emotion. What is it costing me? For some people, being completely stressed is causing you right decisions in business. You're not realizing it, but maybe you're taking wrong decisions. Some of you, in desperation, you are saying yes to any kind of work, right? Those emotions are also emotions. You ask yourself, what is this emotion costing me? And then don't let the priority be affected because of momentarily weaknesses. Okay. And so I would definitely invite you all once again, if you can, please do the pranic psychotherapy course. If you've done it, review it, not done it, do it. And we have also the Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul course. Both the courses actually go hand in hand. One answers you why and one gives you techniques, right? See, without technique, just know how is not enough. We all know गुस्सा नहीं करना चाहिए. We should not be angry. We all know we should not worry. But how does it help? गुस्सा आ जाता है. चिंता हो जाती है, right? We end up worrying, we end up angry. So knowing is not enough. We also need to use techniques, use the tools to manage it. Yes. So we have Shivani, we have Divyani. So if you all can just post the link of the registration if you want. Even I have the link actually. So this is for the soul course. If you are interested in reviewing, welcome and pass it on. Pass it on. Get somebody who may actually benefit from it. Help them also have a fresh perspective in life. That's one of the things I can definitely promise with the soul course. Yes. Okay. There's another question that's here. I'm healing a patient who treats me badly. I have a healing patient who treats me badly, but then expects to be normal. I continue to have one compassion, wise, also money. If you're doing honestly and the patient treats you badly, that's the question. Then we also have to upgrade ourselves. We are doing the role of like a life coach, right? We are healing. So our job is also to help the patient gradually develop the right attitude. Otherwise, you're not actually healing them. Healing is not of the body. Healing is also of the soul. Healing is also of the mind. How to talk less? Wrong person. We trainers are trained to talk. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining. Thank you, Shivani. Thank you, Divyani, and others who may have inspired people to join this session. And I hope this benefits you. Before you go back to your daily routine, I would like you to take a moment with yourself and make a commitment of what technique or what teaching actually you found useful in the session. At least one, I hope. And you ask yourself, or you make a commitment to yourself, how you're going to practice it from now on. See, the practice is where the change will happen. Let me put this constantly. You should remember this. You can know as much as possible, but without implementing it, life is not going to change, right? So commit to yourself. What is the one thing that you found useful here? And that is what you're going to practice it from now. breaking one thing at a time. Okay, so with this, we will do a closing prayer. Please relax yourself. Inhale, exhale slowly. I'll also be adding a short healing to the prayer, so please maintain your receptivity. Yeah. So yeah, before I go to the prayer, thank you, Shivani, for reminding. So those who are registering for the soul workshop for the first time, like those who are doing the soul course for the first time, there's a special gift. There are 8 nurturing sessions uh, based on the soul book that will be there for about 2 months. And there's also or either the nurturing sessions, or you can have scanning done by a trainer, scanning for your strengths and weaknesses, other things that you may want to understand about your own self. Yes, thank you, Shivani, for reminding. That's a special gift for those who are registering for the soul course for the first time in this week. Okay, so prayer and a short healing. Relax yourself. Inhale, exhale slowly. God, to all the great ones, to all the spiritual teachers, we humbly thank you for bringing us together for the teachings and techniques and the inner strength that we may practice what we have learned. Thank you also for healing us all of all our negativity, especially of anger, anxiety, panic, sadness, trauma, helplessness, hopelessness, all lack of healthy self esteem, all feeling that we're not good enough. God, thank you for healing each one of us here of all this negativity. May all belief that we are extremely emotional, extremely sensitive, that I can't control my emotions, let all such belief also be healed from our system. God, thank you for blessing us, each one of us here, with inner strength to choose the way we respond, to choose the way we want to feel. May we all be blessed with tremendous happiness, joy, divine hope, faith, inner strength, courage. May we all have healthy self-respect, healthy self-esteem. God, for all these blessings, we thank you in full faith. Inhale, exhale slowly, absorb the blessings. And gently open your eyes. Okay, so thank you so much. Hope to see you, some of you, this weekend again. Thank you.